Hi guys, welcome to a brand new video podcast series I'm starting called The Choice. On today's episode, which is episode 1, thank you so much for joining us today. I have an amazing guest for you guys. His name is Douglas Drost, and he came from a fishing boat all the way to becoming a top producing real estate agent. And he did that in the course of his very first year in real estate. He went from fishing boat to almost $10 million in sold volume in real estate. So hopefully we're going to be able to learn a lot of tips, tricks, and resources from him today. And I'm really excited to get into this. It's good to have you on the show, Doug.
Thank you, Garth. Definitely a pleasure to be here. And I want to give most of that props. Thank you for the introduction, and most of the props to my success to actually when I first joined up with Park Place Properties, because they gave me all the necessary tools. So I want to give a shout out to you and say thank you for that.
Of course, man. I mean, it's all about the tools and resources you have, especially when you're first starting, what kind of training you're getting, what type of mentorship you're getting. It makes all the difference. And, but I guess to really get things started, let's start with the biggest choice, which was, why did you make the choice to become a realtor in the first place?
Well, like you mentioned, I used to be an Alaska fisherman. I'd go out for months at a time and just be away from land for months at a time. Yes, I made great money. I worked hard. I came home and was able to have that financial freedom. And I think because of that was really the choice to get into real estate, because just wanting that financial freedom, it was cool. I came home with a lot of money, was able to vacation, do whatever I wanted. But I didn't want to be gone for that long. I wanted to have that financial freedom to be able to continue that on a year-round basis.
Yeah. So a lot of you'd have the money, but you didn't really have like the time freedom or the lifestyle that you were looking for, huh?
Right. I had the great lifestyle coming home for 2 or 3 months at a time, but I wanted that year-round, and that really drove me to figure out what type of career would allow something like that, and all arrows pointed to real estate.
That makes a lot of sense. A lot of people achieve all of those things through this business for sure. So can you walk us all through how you ended up getting your first deal?
Wow. At the point that I became a real estate agent, I already bought a house and I sold a house. And my real estate agent at that point was great. So I kind of just did a bunch of research on how that process actually works. I had a vague idea of how to sell a house because I sold one, and how the process went with buying a house. Funny thing is, I didn't use the same agent on them 2 transactions. So once I ended up getting educated on the whole process and what's really the best route to take, I used your guys' technique, which you guys introduced to me, is called sniper farming technique, which was just kind of blew my mind when you guys first explained that to me. I was like, wow, this seems like the perfect thing. This is what agents do. I'm going to use it. Later finding out that's not what all agents do. This was like specifically curated to Park Place Properties. But I took that and I farmed the neighborhood down here in Puyallup, the one that I lived in, because that was part of it, right? You want to be able to stay close to home, makes it a little more convenient. And the type of houses that I wanted to sell was the type of house that I lived in. So actually it was just right around the corner from me. My first transaction was a listing. So for those who don't know, there's 2 sides of it. There's a buying side and then there's a selling side, or a listing side, I guess they say in terminology of real estate. I can help you sell a house. And it just happened to be my first transaction was helping sell a house. So it was kind of my niche as well. It was right around the corner from me. I didn't know 2 licks of nothing, but I had great mentorship. I used, if anybody on here is familiar with Austin helped me with all my photography on that listing. And then to join me on the listing appointment, we had Stuart Emery, which was great. I was able to see what he did in the listing appointment and kind of take that and put my own twist on it. I think a couple deals later, I actually had you on a listing appointment, which was actually in the exact same neighborhood. It was a listing right around the corner at the entrance of Brookfield Farm. So being able to like watch you guys, how you guys follow that listing appointment really helped me out through my first year and how I was able to reach that nearly $10 million mark in volume.
Yeah, you're kind of like rolling right into the next thing. So you had some mentorship when you first got started into the business. Was that valuable? Would you how much of your growth and your volume would you attribute to picking the right mentors that that actually helped you grow, or was it mostly you and mentors kind of added to it?
I wanna say there's a 40-30-30 split. So mentorship, I give the 40% to being able to have somebody in person with you and watch how they talk to people, how they answer questions. That was really the biggest deal. Probably the other 30%, I would say, like myself, 130% of it would be just your knowledge and basis. So you'd be able to take that leap forward and take that first step into real estate, being comfortable mirroring your mentors, right? And then the last 30% is just following not your mentorship, but everybody else in the industry who is successful. I watched a million videos on successful real estate agents, how they did things, and I tried to mirror that. Yeah, it wasn't in person, not necessarily a mentorship, but in a vague way, it was a mentorship, watching all these other successful agents.
That makes a lot of sense. It makes a ton of sense. And what's really cool is now you have the ability to be a mentor to others. And yes, for everybody watching the show, I'm going to put a link below in the description that can connect you to Doug, so that if you were hoping to partner with somebody that has a very hands-on approach, that's had amazing success just starting into the business, you can click that link, set an appointment to have a conversation, and from there you can choose to partner with him and with our overall team, and we'd be excited to have you do that. That being said, when did you make the choice to go all in into the business? I know a lot of agents, they have a job and they have another job, and their spouse has a job, so they get the license a little bit later, they leave part of the job, go part-time, then go part-time here, then they leave the job, there's a process of becoming a real estate agent, right? What did your process look like?
Definitely a process. So like I mentioned, I was a fisherman before, be home for a few months at a time. Out at sea, we didn't have internet access. So on that month or 2 month time, I would be trying to get my required 90 hours of classes in. And then after my final season, we had a hake. I ended up taking a trip off after hake, or before hake, to finalize it, and that was about 2 months off. So I grinded. I was able to actually take the classes, and within 2 months time, I was able to get licensed. So once I knew that was coming up, that's when I made the choice to either go 150%. Some people do the transition from, you know what, I'll do real estate part-time. In my head, I was like, you know what, if I'm only putting 50% of the effort into real estate, I'm only gonna get 50% of the outcome. So I made the choice to say, hey, I'm gonna go 100%, 150% into real estate, to really take my work ethic from working 16-hour days as a fisherman to 24-hour days as a real estate agent. Because sometimes in the beginning, all you can think about is there's not enough hours in a day to do this job as a real estate agent. But luckily, there's enough hours at nighttime to be able to do this job. So I take that same work ethic, made the choice to go 150% into real estate right around September, right as COVID was hitting, actually. There was definitely a lot of concern there, just being like, a lot of people are losing their jobs. We don't know what's going to happen in the world. There were some scare tactics there. But that's when I made the choice, and look where I am now. So hopefully I can take the things that I learned, and like Garth said, if you guys want to set up an appointment with me, he's going to put the link down below. Feel free to join me and my team. I've already got a few agents under me that are showing a lot of success, and I would love to share that with all of you as well.
Yeah, man. So how would you say you built most of your business? You said your first deal was off of a sniper campaign, which is a proprietary tech, by the way, that all Park Place agents get access to. So if you do join Doug, you get this technology, which is really cool. But how did you build the most of your business? What's your secret sauce?
So the secret sauce is not really that big of a secret. You might have known this already, but really branding was such a big thing for me. And when we were with Park Place, they offered to put your branding in front of their own, which they did. You get to create your own design, how you want to throw yourself out there, because essentially you're your own business. So I think branding and then getting your name out there was really my number one reason for my growth so quickly is that I took my logo, my name, and I threw it on all the social media platforms. I mean, web is crazy. We're right here one-on-one right now, me and Garth. Garth and I on a webcam, getting our faces in front of you guys. So taking your brand, putting it on the internet, putting it in front of people's faces was definitely, I want to say, number one, even ahead of all the tools that you guys were able to provide for me. Branding in front of people.
I think that's everything. And I think it's not talked about enough. I think almost every single agent's issue is obscurity. Nobody knows who you are. If they don't know you, they can't transact with you. And if you're not doing enough business, absolutely build in a brand, dial it in. And by the way, that's something that we will help you with. So if you're thinking about doing that, we'll actually help you do all of it with you. So I love how your brand came out. It looks amazing. And I think that's partly why it works well.
I'd like to share a little funny backstory on that. So as a deckhand, when I was working out there, there's a chain that runs along the bottom of the net. There's these two chains actually, and they call it the foot rope. And actually my D's that interlock together are actually two chains that interlock together. And I saw that when I was fishing, and I'll never forget, back in the day, I was like, you know, this is going to be my logo in the future. I didn't know what the logo was going to be for. I had a million ideas of different businesses, but sure enough, I took that and brought it into real estate. So also, on another point that you just pointed out, is that you can have all the knowledge in the world. You could be the smartest person out there, but if you don't have a great brand and able to put it out there, really, you're not going to succeed, I don't think.
That's totally true. That's why the best brands don't necessarily have the best things. If you ever go to Starbucks, it's definitely not the best coffee, but they have the best business, right? They've got a good brand. So as you've been building it, and I know you've been in it for a few years now, so anybody who's been listening, you might think that you're still brand new. You're not. You've been in the business for years now. But throughout that time, was there ever any doubts? Was there ever any doubts that you wanted to keep doing it? Any doubts that, you know, maybe your wife was saying you shouldn't keep doing it? I don't know. Was there doubts? If so, what and when were they?
Okay, yeah, definitely a great question. You know, it's kind of a hard one to answer too, because I don't like to be the one to put myself out there and say, yeah, I'm continuously doubting myself. But I think you kind of have to. You have to doubt yourself, because it'll help you strive to do better on a daily basis. If I think, man, I don't know, I have this listing appointment coming up tomorrow. If I go, there's a good chance I'm not going to land it. What do I got to do to land it, right? If I just say, I got this listing appointment tomorrow, I'm going to crush it, I'm going to go in, boom. You know, maybe I won't put that extra 10% effort into that listing appointment because I'm just so self-centered and confident that I'm going to get it. So I doubt it on a regular basis. If you're thinking long-term, my first year into real estate, I was like, boom, I was crushing it. And then at the end of the year, and I was kind of expecting it, that we call it the fourth quarter. It's a little bit slower in real estate, right? Yeah. Winter time, school starts, nobody wants to move, nobody wants to buy a house. It slowed down dramatically. I had a whole month of just nothing, making phone calls, nothing. Just, you know, nobody wants to do anything in real estate. It's getting cold here in Washington. Nobody wants to go outside anyways. It got super slow in that first year. So that, I think, was the biggest scare, when I had a full month of just dead silence, and I was grinding out as hard as I could still to try and get business, but nothing was coming up. So then I was like, man, what if this happened for 3 months at a time? You know, what would I be finding? I have a house, I have mortgage, I got bills to pay. At that point, I was thinking like, okay, where can I find a part-time to get me through this? But then just like that, it was just sporadic that all of a sudden I had 3 deals coming in after that 1 month. So I was like, whew, a little bit of sweat off my forehead.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to stick it through, and even when the results aren't coming that second, you just put each leg through the pants, and you work anyways, knowing that the result will come, even though sometimes you don't get to see those results quickly at all. Sometimes it's months away before you see those results, and that's what makes it so difficult. But yeah, it's good that you stayed in it, right?
100%. I never thought I was actually, I mean, this is my passion. Passion is real estate, right? I've always loved going out and looking at houses and helping families remember this first-time home buying process. I never imagined myself getting out of it, regardless of how hard it is going to get. So there was no doubt that I was going to leave. I wasn't. whether or not I had to pick up another job to help me get through these tough patches. And I would say even then, still even today, I'm still watching videos on other successful agents and what they're doing. It's not strictly, that's the great thing about being an agent also. It's not strictly I'm helping people sell houses and buy houses. I'm also helping them invest. I'm also have connections as far as like contractors go in my back pocket to help them remodel their house or give them options like, well, you know what, I want to remodel my kitchen. I don't have the money. Well, guess what? You might have some equity in your house that I can be able to find out for you. Reach out to me that way. Or I have landscapers. It was so funny in my first year. I felt like that was real. I wasn't expecting it. That's really part of my career was being able to find contractors for people and get bids. It was funny, like just for everything, like electrical, plumbing, landscaping, floors, paint, the whole 9 yards. So really I was just on the phone all the time, getting multiple bids for people because even me personally with my house, I was always shopping for the best deal. So I would call up 3 or 4 different contractors to come out. Finally, I've narrowed it down. I've got this one contractor that I just used on my new house. If any of you don't know, I just bought my second house, renting out my first one. So to be able to use an agent as somebody who's already lived through the investment process, definitely reach out to me. But I've got this one contractor that did the whole painting inside of my house that I've been using since first year. He's just always, I always call multiple contractors, but this guy's always beat everybody out. And his work it was really great, so I continue to use him even to today.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's really cool that there's multiple facets that we can help people with, because I think everybody always gets bogged down in help people buy, help people sell. But I mean, even looking at my business, I do a lot with new development. I do a lot of like new construction homes. So you're dealing with architects, floor plan creations, interior designers for layouts and finishes and all of that. So there's so much else that if you're not delving into those aspects of the business, maybe consider it so you can give yourself extra things to do. If your plate isn't full enough. No, but I got another question for you, and this is kind of a big one. So when you're looking at your career, you were at Park Place initially, and Park Place went through a transition. And through that transition, when did you make the choice to join EXP, and why?
Oh, that's it's a big question, but it was super easy. I mean, Park Place helped me succeed and become successful in real estate. Why would I not follow the people who decided to make the choice to go into EXP? I mean, it was because of you, pretty much. You're the DB of Park Place that I decided to go with EXP, and everything EXP has to offer on top of it. I mean, we had a few boundaries with Park Place properties. I think you can agree that now they are down, and we are able to expand further than we were actually expecting. So when you were able to I don't want to say pitch, but when you were able to give me the tools that EXP now has to offer on top of the tools you've already given to me, it was a no-brainer, right?
Yeah. No, that makes, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And I was always curious on why people made that decision, because obviously some people turn a blind eye to EXP for plenty of years. I know I certainly did, because I operated out of emotion instead of facts, logic, and looking at empirical data and seeing the assets, tools, and resources that were available to us. And I'm glad we made the transition. I think a lot of actually almost all of our agents are really, really excited about it and the opportunity for potential growth as well. Like I said, now that Doug is here with us at EXP, he can have the opportunity to partner with you. So again, a link in the description below will be given to you. So if you're looking to find the right person to partner with and to be your sponsor, to make sure that you get access to the best tools in not just EXP, but the entire industry, when you combine what Park Place does over and above the EXP model, and it's all completely free. It costs $0 to be a part of the team. It's just free value on top of an already well-functioning, well-oiled machine of a brokerage. So anyways, what I also want to know is, what are your future goals in the business? Like, what's your long-term perfect vision? What's your business look like, and how is it functioning?
Well, that is perfect because it kind of ties into what you also just said. Being able to help agents. I'm hosting a weekly calling session because part of the sniper campaign that we do is that we do warm calls. You might be familiar with the terminology of cold calling. This isn't cold calling. This is warm calling because you've already put your face in front of these potential sellers, these potential buyers, investors. So every Thursday or Friday, I hop on. We're about 2 hours. I provide phone numbers for all the agents that work with me and partner with my team. And we just mute each other. We hop on, so we hold each other accountable. We can see each other face to face, making sure we're making these phone calls. We do about 5 or 10 every week. Even though we're muted, we can't hear each other's conversations. Got the earpiece in, we're all taking notes. You're able to see everybody who shows up that they're making these phone calls. Sometimes we have a great day, sometimes it's dead, but still every week you just have to continue and have that routine in there. So that is definitely, actually, I got carried away. What was the question again?
Hey, that's really cool. So you're running
about the cold calling session.
Yeah, so you're running accountability groups for a proprietary technology tool that allows you guys to farm better. And how many people are showing up to that every week?
We've got 5 agents, but 4, I would say 3. You know, sometimes, you just you get busy. Not all of them are full-time in real estate.
Yeah.
One of the agents works in the healthcare, but decided that he wants to take the leap and go full-time into it. So he's going to be hopping on. So there's about 4 or 5 of us.
It's only going to grow. It's only going to grow. The question was, what does the future of Douglas Drost look like in the business as a whole, just like large scale?
Continuing to do what I do is helping out families. And on top of that, showing other agents is what I really want to do. Because I can't be the only one out here doing great real estate business, right? I want to have other agents have that same success, that financial freedom. So I'm trying to bring on other agents, show them what I did, and give them the tools that were handed down to me to be able to help them grow and have that financial freedom. Because there's 2 main things that people want in life. They want to have money, of course, money, financial freedom, and then they also want to have the time to do what they want, because a lot of times they don't coexist together. Either you have a lot of money and no time, or you have a lot of time and no money. And I feel like I'm getting closer to my goal of having both. But my bar is set really high, and I want to be able to tell other people to set your bar super high, because if it's higher than your expectations, if you don't quite reach it, at least you're still doing better than what you were expecting. So for me and my business and my team, that's what I want to do. Continue growth, continue progress. You don't want to be regressing in any sense of the word. Taking steps forward, even if they're baby steps, continuing to step forward for me and everybody on my team.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and to wrap things up, I got a final question for you. Where do you think the entire industry is heading? So lots of things have shifted in the last decade. We've got AI out now. We've got media things that have changed, that have drastically changed the way that listings are done. Buyers can see listings. Weirdly enough, 10 years ago, well, 20 years ago, the internet really wasn't housing listings. So buyers couldn't go look at houses online 24/7. What do you think is the future of the business, and how do you think it's going to affect real estate agents?
The future of real estate, I'm seeing, like you said, it's a lot more online. 3D video tours, or just video tours in general, I think are going to become more popular. A lot of times you can swipe through pictures. And I see a few agents, which is genius, I'm going to start incorporating into my listings, is that the video, I already have the 3D walkthroughs, right? But I've been seeing a lot of video tours. You do fantastic work, and you work with a company, I believe is Acre in Seattle.
I work with a few. I have a few.
You work with a few? There's a few. Well, shout out to Acre.
All visuals as well.
Social media also. But I plan on doing an actual video tour where you're not like swiping through the little circles on the floor. You're actually just watching a video of the whole entire house. I think people are going to enjoy that a lot more. So I think that's going to become more and more popular. Yeah. And then AI technology being able to, you're going to see a lot of people getting more comfortable like we are face to face. I'm not a big fan of the chat AI and I'm kind of I want to be independent and say whatever I want to say, whether it be wrong or right. But I think a lot of people are going to get more comfortable making speeches and talking in front of people. So kind of plan on there being some more competition out there. So if you're comfortable not using Chat GPT and just getting yourself out there and talking, giving your knowledge and being comfortable with what you say, I think you're going to do a lot better than those who are reading off a script on their computer. But that's just my personal opinion. And of course, Facebook Pro, what is that called? The metaverse. I feel like that is taking a little longer than they were expecting to bounce and kick off. But I think I want to personally see, I want to think about starting it myself as being able to like, hey, come into my office, let's go tour some homes together. In my office with a pair of 3D goggles where you're actually got a controller and you can walk through the house with goggles and feel like you're actually there. The only problem I see with that is like people want to have that feels, you know, when you're working with buyer client, you're touring houses and you walk into a house and you got the feels, you know, this is the house for them. They're not going to have that as much if they use the Oculus Pro, which is like $1,000+ for this thing. But being able to tour houses on that, I think that could potentially be a thing here in the next few years.
I think it will, and I think the best way to utilize it, and this is some free tips for everybody, is when you do buyer consultations. I always do a filter process before I hop into a car or show anybody anything. So we do the consultation, then we do a filtering process of all of the entire MLS, and then distill it to the important houses. And usually by the time we've distilled it down, there's only like 6 or 8 anyways. I think this process would be amazing once you distill it to that, because then you could probably distill it down to like the top 2 or 3 contenders and only look at 2 or 3 to make the time commitment even better and even shorter. As far as the video stuff goes, I do think that media is becoming and will become paramount, and I think one of the important things to do video wise, as when agents are looking at creating videos and doing property tours and things like that, I think if you have your videographer doing them anyways, make sure to get custom personal branding content for yourself, because branding content is the next game. I just did one. I don't know if you saw it. It was a beautiful Scandinavian build, and I had a video of that launch for 1.5 million, and within 2 hours it was sold by Instagram because the agent saw my reels.
Right? Yes.
And
yes, it's funny enough that people are on social media 24/7, and even house hunters in that price point are still out there, and being able to see your high quality videos, put that in front of somebody's face to look at that, boom, you landed a deal with it.
And there's so few people that are doing it and doing it well. So if you just have an emphasis on quality, you're going to be the person people reach out to. I've gotten celebrity clients from a video post, and because nobody else in the entire marketplace puts out beautiful video content, that's the first time they saw anything that beautiful. Boom, record-setting price for the city ever with a celebrity. And that's all just because of, you know, utilizing high quality video. And I don't think that's going anywhere. And in fact, I think the more you do it and the more you pump it out right now, the absolute better.
That's got to be a big difference. Also, I noticed with when I joined Park Place, it was the luxury branding, right? That's the thing that drew me to Park Place, and there's your example right there. That just proves the facts that the reason I joined Park Place is that you guys Park Place symbol. I think you got a tattoo on your arm of it.
I do, man. I do.
Definitely shows quality, right? Just when I stepped into the office, you want quality, you want luxury at the same price point you get with a lot of other brokerages anyway. So luxury branding goes a long ways for sure. And that's something that I want to hand down to everybody who ends up joining with me and my team, is that if we could put a brand to your name that fits and attracts people, you know, you're going to be successful. You might not even need to get in front of a camera like this. If you have a sweet brand that you don't have to show your face, but you got a brand that you can put in front of people's faces and show the outcome of what that brand brought to the table, instant success.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I think creates a lot of hesitancy, at least from some agents, is that the EXP brand is not the best. And I don't think there's any hiding that. It truly isn't. But what
was it, like a blue house with a yellow? Or
yeah, it's not that
orange?
good. But what I will say is when you're aligned with the right partners like us at Park Place, you can have best of both worlds. You get the best compensation structure, amazing 24/7 support, resources and access to information and training, daily masterminds, and a beautifully dialed in brand that we will even help you develop and make sure that it is capturable by the entire marketplace, because you don't want to be just the only one that loves it. You want other people to identify it and love it, and then build an emotion behind that logo, because a brand is more than a logo. It's something that we want you to love so much that you literally brand it on your arm. Yes. Right? You don't have to do that, but I'm just saying that's how you want to build a properly dialed in brand. But I digress. We're getting a little off topic. Thank you so much. Is there anything you have left to say before we close things up today?
No, I already said thank you for everything you provided for me. Hopefully I can do the same thing for anybody else who's watching this. Definitely reach out. He said he's going to put the link down below to set up a one-on-one video. We can also meet in person. Feel free to schedule something. I could buy you a cup of coffee. I live down in Pierce County, but I'll drive anywhere. I've got a listing that just went active in Oak Harbor that I do business I won't go east of the mountains. I won't go east of the mountains anymore. I did that one time, not my favorite drive, but up and down the west side of Washington, I'm all about it. So if you want to meet up, have a conversation, consider jumping over into my team with eXp Realty. I would love to buy you even lunch, or even a Bloody Mary if you're early enough and you're that type of person. Just reach out to me, or you can also find my phone number on all my social media pages. Help you become a successful real estate agent. I guess that's where I want to leave you guys at.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Doug, for that. And what I will say is I'll also leave a link to my Calendly if you want to set up an appointment for me and Doug. You could do that as well, and just make sure that you connect with both of us there if that's something that you were hoping to do. It's a little bit harder to get a hold of me sometimes, so go try to get a meeting with Doug first. But if it's possible, we'll try to set something up with me as well. And anyway, thank you so much for everybody who stayed to the end of the first episode of The Choice. I know that this will be a wild journey. We already have multiple episodes coming and lined up. This will be more than a weekly show. So if you want to subscribe to the channel, that would be amazing. Like this video, subscribe, send us a comment if you have any questions about what we do, how we do it, when we do it, and how you could grow your business. What I would love is for you to plug into this playlist and listen to lots of high quality producers and what they do, how they do it, and find out their secret sauce so you can add it to your recipe as well. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of The Choice.